So, good morning, all of you. Today, the first topic which we are going to discuss is indentation. Indentation. Indentation in Python. So, what is indentation in Python? See, most of the programming languages like C and C++ and Java use curly braces, right? Suppose if you want to define a block of code, row number 40,
So not audible, not audible.
not audible, sir. సార్ ఇప్పుడు
Please turn on your mic.
ఇప్పుడు ఓకేనా సార్?
వినపడుతుంది సార్.
వినపడుతుంది సార్.
No, still not audible.
Students are saying that they are audible. Madikanta, is my voice audible or not?
ఎస్ సార్ వినపడుతుంది సార్, బాగానే ఉంది సార్.
No, sir.
Okay. See, in most of the programming languages, we are going to use curly braces. Like we are opening curly brace and we
Sir,
are
your voice
closing
is not
curly
audible.
brace. We are opening a curly brace and we are closing a curly brace. In between those curly braces, we are going to define a block of code. We are going to define a block of code. So similarly in Python programming languages, in order to define a block of code, here there is no purpose of using curly braces. Here there is no purpose of using curly braces. Suppose in C programming language, if we need to start main, we'll be using syntax like main. Next, coming to the next line, we are going to use a curly brace, and in between opening a curly brace and after and between closing a curly brace, there will be some block of data. There will be some block of data. But in Python, we are going to use a concept called indentation. I-N-D-E-N-T-A-T-I-O-N. So what is indentation? What is indentation in Python? So indentation in Python means giving 4 white spaces or by just clicking on tab button. Indentation in Python means giving 4 white spaces or pressing or entering a key of tab button once. Clear? So in Python, there are no curly braces now. There are no curly braces now for defining a block of code. Okay. So we shall see an example now. We shall see an example how we can use indentation in Python. See, I went to Python IDLE. I went to Python IDLE. Click on File, New File. Click on File, New File. I'll be taking the new file to the share screen. So this is the new file which I have taken. Go to File, Save. On the desktop, name that file as indentation. Name that file as indentation.py. C. Indentation.py. This is our new file. Okay. So now I want to use indentation concept in Python. Now I want to use indentation concept in Python. Say for example like this. So first we shall refer how we will use curly braces in C language. We will be doing like hash, include, so on, and main like this, and in between there is this, in between there are some block of statements, right? In between there are some block of statements. This is called block of statements. Okay. This is how we use curly braces in C language. Instead of these curly braces opening and closing, here in Python programming language, we are going to use indentation. So what is the purpose of indentation and how it will be useful? We shall have a look here. Say for. For is a keyword. For is a keyword and it's a type of one of the type of loop. In Python, there are two types of loop called for loop and while loop. So for is a keyword and for is also a type of loop. For I in range of 1 comma 11. For I in range of 1 comma 11. Print I. Print I. Print I. See, immediately after ending of the first line, when I am going to press the enter button, automatically the interpreter is taking 4 white spaces or 1 tab automatically. These particular 4 white spaces are called as, see, I am highlighting those particular 4 white spaces. This highlighted space is called as indentation. This particular highlighted place is called as an indentation. So here we no need to use any sort of curly loops. Here we no need to use any sort of curly loops. So what will be the output of the program? What will be the output of the program? So for is a keyword, I is a variable. In C programming language, the syntax of for loop will be like initializing a variable, testing a condition, and updation. Updation will be done by using incrementation or decrementation. So in Python, it's very simple syntax for loop. It will be like this: for I is a variable, in is a keyword, range is a function. Range is a function. Suppose range of 1 comma 11. Range of 1 comma 11. It reads from 1 to 10 only. It reads from 1 to 10 only. That means the starting position will be 1. It starts with 1 and ends with 10. It checks for only 10 iterations. Even though a range function consists of 1 to 11, the interpreter does not read 11 iterations. It reads only for 10 iterations. Suppose it will be executed like this: for I in range of 1. So first I value will be 1. So 1 will be printed here. So 1 will be printed here. Next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 8, 9, 10. It does not go for 11. That's what I'm saying. It does not go for the 11th iteration. The range function functionality works only for starting of the loop 1 and here n value. Think this as n value. It checks only for n minus 1 values. It checks only for n minus 1 values. So when I'm going to press F5 button, the output will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to 10. Okay, we shall check it out whether what I said is correct or not. We shall check it out. See, go to run F5 module. I shall show you the screen of output one. See, the output screen will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Suppose again we shall see like this: from I in range of 1 comma 11, I am given here as 6 instead of 11. 6 instead of 11. So say for I in range of 1 comma 6. So what will be the values I am going to receive is 1 comma n minus 1 values. N minus 1 in the sense 6 minus 1, 5. So let's check it out. Go to run module. Go to the output screen. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Suppose I want to print a string like Python programming. I want to print like Python programming. So I want to print Python programming statement for 9 times. I want to print Python programming statement for 9 times. So my for loop will be like this. So from I in range of 1 comma 10. Why I have given 10 is my aim is to print Python programming language for 9 times. Since interpreter gives iterations to n minus 1 values, so I have considered from 1 to 9. So print Python programming. Now our output will be Python programming for 9 times. Run module. Go to the output screen. See, this is our output: Python programming. Okay. So next example, we shall check one more example with indentation. See, in this particular program, Python programming will be printed for 9 times. But I will not change the two statements which are visible to you right now. But my aim is to print Python programming only for 5 times. My aim is to print Python programming only for 5 times. For that, I am using a condition called if I is equal to 6. If I is equal to 6. Condition in the next statement, I am using a keyword called break. If I is equal to 6 colon, in the next condition, break. Here, everyone need to be observed that for the second line, there are 4 white spaces which are called indentation. For the second line, there are 4 white spaces which are called indentation. Okay. For the third line also there are 4 white spaces, but for the fourth line there are 8 white spaces. There are 8 white spaces or two tabs. Why? Because this is the body of the for loop. This is the highlighted 2 lines are the body of the for loop, whereas this break statement is the body of if condition. Whereas this break statement is the body of the if statement. So now go to file and save this particular program. See, for these 2 lines we have got the output like printing the Python programming for 9 times. Suppose when here what the condition I have given is if I equal to 6, when the I value came into the 6th iteration, I am asking the interpreter to break there itself. When I values came into the 6th iteration, I am asking the interpreter to break the program. See now, go to file, save, run, F5. File, save, run, and F5. Output screen. See here. Now I got only 5 times. Python programming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clear? When it checks only for 6 conditions. If I equal to 6, it checks only for 6 conditions. Clear everyone? If it is a range function, it calculates 1 comma n minus 1 values. It calculates 1 comma n minus 1 values. Since I have given in if condition like if I equal to 6, then immediately after the condition where 6th iteration has been completed, it does not execute from the 7th statement. It does not get executed from the 7th statement. So simply speaking in Telugu, what is indentation means? What is indentation means? Generally, other programming languages like C, C++ or Java, curly braces and maintain chestam. But in Python programming language, there is no purpose of curly braces. Curly braces బదులు మనం ఇక్కడ 4 white spaces అంటే 4 spaces కానీ లేదా ఒక ట్యాబ్ స్పేస్ కానీ వాడితే దాన్ని ఇండెంటేషన్ అంటాం. కర్లీ బ్రేసెస్ బదులు వాడేదాన్ని ఇండెంటేషన్ ఇన్ పైథాన్ అంటాం. ఇండెంటేషన్ అంటే you need to tell like 4 white spaces, and that means like 4 spaces or 1 tab space. 4 spaces or 1 tab space. In the example showing here, for is a condition, for is a loop. Okay, so I am mentioning at the end like colon. So immediately after pressing enter button, it is the interpreter automatically taking 4 white spaces. Why? Because the syntax of the for loop is known to the interpreter already. The syntax of for loop is already known to the interpreter. So you no need to mention any sort of 4 spaces or 1 tab space unless you need that. Okay, this is called indentation in Python. So any doubts in indentation? Any doubts in the concept of indentation?
No, sir.
Oh, clear. So next topic, in last previous classes we have discussed about operators. In Python we have discussed about operators. So how many types of operators are available? How many types of operators are available in Python? Any one of you?
Two types.
2 types. How many types of operators are available in Python?
6, sir.
6 types of operators. Okay. What are those 6 types of operators?
Arithmetic operator, relational, assignment, logical, bitwise, and special.
Special operators in the sense? Membership and
Membership operator, identical operator.
It's not identical, it's identity.
Identity.
Okay, it's identity. Membership operators and identity operators. So the screen shows what are the list of operators available in Python. Already we have discussed with each of the operators, right? We have discussed with each of the operators clearly. So in today's class we shall learn the precedence tables of all the operators. The precedence table of all the operators. Okay, precedence in the sense, if we have given any expression, how can we calculate that particular expression? Suppose if an expression consists of 3 or 4 symbols, which are called as operators. how can that expression be performed? Means we are going to use this particular operator precedence table. Among all the operators available in Python, the highest precedence operator is exponentiation. The highest precedent operator means exponentiation. So exponentiation comes under which type of operator in Python? Whether it comes under arithmetic or logical or any other operators. Anyone of this? Arithmetic. Exponentiation in the sense it comes under arithmetic operator. So remember very well, the highest precedence in Python programming language will be exponentiation. Next comes complement. Complement operator, unary plus and unary minus. Unary plus and unary minus. Immediately the third, fourth will be consist of arithmetic operators. First one is exponentiation. Second one is complement, unary plus and unary minus. And third, fourth ranks were given to the arithmetic operators. And in arithmetic operators also, the third rank was given to multiplication, division, modulus, and floor division. And the fourth rank was given to addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction. So hope you need to remember the precedence table very well for evaluating any sort of expression. You need to remember this particular precedence table very well for performing any operation. After the completion of this precedence table, we will be performing 3 examples. We will be performing 3 examples with 3 expressions each. Okay. So learn this precedence table very well. The highest precedence consists of exponentiation of the arithmetic operator. Next, complement, unary plus and unary minus. 3, 4 ranks were given to arithmetic operators. And for the third rank, multiplication, division, modular division, and floor division. Fourth rank goes to addition and subtraction. Clear? Okay. And one more thing to be remembered is, suppose if my expression consists of same operators of same precedence. If my expression consists of same order of precedence. Suppose I have given an expression like a plus b minus c. A plus b minus c. Plus and minus are of same precedence. Plus and minus are of same precedence. Then you need to follow left to right associativity. If the order of precedence in the given expression is same, you need to follow left to right associativity. Okay. Next, the 5th rank, 6th rank, and the 7th rank were given to the bitwise operators. 5, 6, 7 ranks were given to the bitwise operators. Right shift and left shift for the 5th rank, bitwise end for the 6th rank, and remaining all for the 7th rank. Remaining all for the 7th rank. Okay. Next 2 ranks will be given to the relational operators. Next 2 ranks will be given to the relational. And in particular relation operators also, greater than equal to, can you mention what is this symbol? Greater than equal to, after greater than equal to there is a symbol. What is that symbol called? What is this operator called?
Similar to not
Similar
equal
to
to.
not equal to operator.
No, it's greater, less than and greater than. It's less than and greater than. Okay. So comparison operators, so in precedence table, the comparison operators are categorized into 2 types. So among all the 7 operators which are available, these 4 operators are in the top. Which 4 operators? Less than equal to, greater than equal to, less than and greater than. After to that, the remaining all operators, this is called similar to not equal to. This is called similar to not equal to. That means similar to not equal to, not equal to, equal to. These all 3 operators were given to the equality operators. These all 3 operators come under equality. The above mentioned 4 operators comes under comparison. Both comparison and equality both comes under relational operators only. Nothing to worry about that. In relational operators for the performance of the precedence table, those are classified into 2 types. The first order is greater than equal to, less than, less than equal to, less than, greater than, and greater than equal to. Next, equality operators like similar to, not equal to, not equal to. Clear? And the last 4 operators are assignment operators, identity, membership, and logical operators. Assignment, identity operators, membership operators, and logical operators. So this is the order of evaluations. If I have given any expression to calculate, you need to prefer this precedence table. you need to prefer this precedence table. So just remember blindly, the highest precedence value will be for exponentiation. Next complement, unary plus and unary minus. Next two are arithmetic operators. Next three are bitwise operators. Next two relational operators. After relational operator, assignment operators, identity operators, membership operator, and logical operators. Clear? Logical operators. See, now look at these two examples. Look at these two examples. So A, B, C, D, E are variables. A, B, C, D, E are variables. So I assigned, I have initialized the values. A is equal to 20, B 10, C 15, D 5, E 0. This is an expression. This is an expression where E is a variable, equal to E is assignment operator. So the value of E will be produced after this particular expression have been executed. The value of E will be assigned after this particular expression has been completed. Can any one of you guess what is the value of E? Can any one of you guess what is the value of E? See, I have already told what list out the operators available here. List out the operators or special symbols available here. So the options available here are plus, into, and division. Plus, into, and division. So among these three operators, which operators are having highest precedence? So in the above table, we can see that into, asterisk, multiplication, division. After that, we are going to have plus symbol. Multiplication, division, and plus symbol. Okay. See here, multiplication, division, and plus symbol. Okay. And one more point to be noted is this. You can observe parenthesis here. You can observe parenthesis here. Parenthesis is having highest precedence. Parentheses are having highest precedence. So first we need to calculate A plus B. A in the sense 20, B in the sense 10. 20 plus 10, the value will be 30. 20 plus 10, the value will be 30. After that, into and divided by. Both belongs to one family. One family in the sense both are having same precedence. Then I already said that if two operators are having same precedence values, then we need to consider left to right associativity. We need to consider left to right associativity. So A plus B, the value will be 30. 30 into C. C value is 15. 30 into 15 value will be 450. 450. 450 divided by D. D value is 5. 450 divided by 5. The value is 90. The value is 90. The new thing which appeared in this particular example is in the print statement, I am using a word called int. int. Generally, we will be writing as the value of the expression is double quotation close comma E. But before E, I am going to use int statement. Before E, I am going to use a word called int in this particular statement. The purpose of this word int here is after the evaluation of this particular expression, we are not sure whether the value which we receive is integer value or float value or any other value. We are not sure whether our expression will be integer value or float value. For that, I have asked the interpreter, the value may be anything. The value may be anything, but please produce me the integer value only. But please produce me the integer value only. Clear? The main purpose of integer int is here after the completion of this expression, the value will be assigned to E. I am asking the interpreter to print that value only in the form of integer. I am asking the interpreter to print the value of E only in the form of an integer. Okay. Now I am going to run this particular program 1 in our system. So again, share screen. Say I'm mentioning all these in comment lines. I'm mentioning all these in comment lines. I'm mentioning all these in comment lines. Say, go to file, Save. One more thing is, in Python, comment line is mentioned here by using hash symbol, right? By using hash symbol. So here there are 4 lines. Here I want to comment for 4 lines. You can give hash symbol for each and every line, or you can perform comment like this, by using 3 double quotations. By using 3 double quotations. See, the data which is between these 3 double quotations, these all comes under comment lines. If we want to mention multiple comment lines in Python, we are going to do it by using 3 double quotations. 3 double quotations. So these 4 lines come under comment lines. Okay, go to file and save this file. So here we have calculated the value of E will be 90. The value of E will be 90. In the next statement, I will ask the system to print the value of E without using integer. I am asking the interpreter to print the value of E without using integer. So here I asked the interpreter to give the value of E by using the integer. So here my value will be 90. Here my value will be 90. In this print statement, I did not ask the interpreter to give the value in integer. So here my value will be 90.0. Here my value will be 90.0. We shall check it out. Go to run module. Go to run module. In the output screen, see here, the value of E is 90. Here the value of E is 90 because in the print statement, I asked the interpreter to print the value of E in integer only. That's why my value is 90. In the second print statement, I did not ask the interpreter to print the value of E by using integer. Simply I asked the interpreter to give the value of E. So it gave me the value of E as 90.0. Clear everyone? Okay. Now we shall go with next example. Now we shall go with example 2. Now we shall go with example 2. Example 2. So now I am mentioning these in comment lines. Up to here, our program will be in comments. Here, our program will be in comments. So, any one of you, tell me what will be the value of E. Tell me what will be the value of E. The expression which I have given above and here are same. The operators are same. Here the operators are plus, into and divided by. Here also the operators are plus, into and divided by. But the main difference between the two expressions is, look at the parenthesis. Look at the parenthesis. In the above expression, the parentheses are mentioned for A plus B. And here the parentheses are mentioned for B into C. Any one of you?
50, sir.
50, sir.
Sorry?
50, sir.
50. Still any answers? Some have said that the value of the expression will be 50. Some have said that the value of expression is 50. We shall check it out. See, as discussed earlier, parentheses will be carrying out the highest precedence. Parentheses will be carrying out the highest precedence. So B into C. B into C. B in the sense 10. 10 into 15, 150. 10 into 15, 150. Next, I am having the operators like plus and divided by. Plus and divided by. So, among plus and divided by, my highest precedence will be divided by. So, B into C in the sense 150 divided by 5. What will be the value of 150 divided by 5? 30. 150 divided by 30. So, until here, the expression is 30, right? B into C in the sense 10 into 15, 150 divided by 15. 150 divided by 15, 10. Our value is 10. So the A value is 20. Are everyone getting me? Here A equal to 20, B equal to 10, C equal to 15, D equal to 5, and E is equal to 0. This is the expression which I have given here. So I asked the interpreter to print the value of E in the form of an integer. In the form of an integer. So the value of B is 10 and the value of C is 15. 10 into 15, 150. Clear everyone? Since parentheses have highest business, I have calculated B into C. So B into C in this is 10 into 15, 150. After that, I have taken the highest business divided by. So 150 divided by D value is 5. 150 divided by 5 is 30. Now this particular value 30 will be added to the value A. A value is 20. So 20 plus 30, the value will be 50. Suppose if I ask the interpreter to print, if I ask the value of, if they ask the value of E without using integer, I am not using integer here. So now what will be the value? Now what will be the value? Definitely it gives like 50.0. It gives like 50.0. 50.0. We shall check it out. Go to file, save the file, save the file, run module. First line output will be 50 and the second line output will be 50.50. Look at here. The value of E is 50 and the value of E is 50.0. Clear? Now one more example. I will be considering. One more example like so up to here. Now I will be mentioning the comment lines. Up to here, I will be mentioning the comment lines. So what will be the output for this statement? What will be the output for this program? I have given parentheses 2 times. The parentheses we have, so see, A plus B are in one parenthesis and A plus B into C are in one parenthesis. So what will be the output for this? What will be the output for this? Any one of you can tell me. Any one of you? Anyone? Roll number 46. Roll number 46. Roll number 46. B0. Roll number B0. B0. So hope everyone are listening to the class correctly. Roll number 49.
90, sir.
90. How the output will be 90? See here there are two parentheses. First here the value of A and B. Consider A plus B inner parenthesis. A plus B in this is 20 plus 10 30. 20 plus 10 30. Next complete this parenthesis. 30 into C. C value is 15. 30 into 15 450. 30 into 15 450. So 450 divided by D value 5. 450 divided by 5 will be getting the output as 90. Clear? So these are the precedents. These are the precedent values. One more time I am showing this the PowerPoint. So these are the precedent values. Highest precedence will be for exponentiation. Okay, next comes complement, unary plus and unary minus. Next two operators are arithmetic operators. In the arithmetic operators also multiplication, division, modulus and floor division. Next addition and subtraction. Next two operators are next three. Next three operators will be bitwise operators. Next two are relational operators. After relational operators, assignment, identity, membership and logical operators. The least precedent value among all the operators are logical operators. Clear? Okay. Next, for today's class, we will discuss what are different types of data types available in. So next concept is data types. Next concept is data types. So what are the different data types available in Python? What are different data types available in Python? In Python, there are three types of data types. First one is numbers, booleans, and strings. Numbers, booleans, and strings. And among numbers, there are four sub data types like integers, long integers, floating point values, and complex numbers. Clear? In Python programming language, there are three types of data types. First one is numbers, second one is booleans, and the third one is strings. Okay. In numbers, there are four categories which are called integers, long integers, floating point values, and complex numbers. Okay. Now we shall go to the numbers first. We shall go into the numbers first. Okay. So in the numbers, integers are the first one. We all know what are integers. There are integers are also often called as int, where it consists of positive or negative numbers. Positive or negative numbers. The main important thing to be remembered is in integers, no decimal point is accepted. In integers, no decimal point is accepted. So if I tell integers, immediately the three statements which you need to get is integers are also called as int. What does that integer consist of means a positive or negative values. What integer does not consist of means decimal values. Integer does not have any decimal values. Okay. Say example like this. 9. 9 is a positive value. There is no dot. There is no decimal value. So it's an integer. Minus 18. It's a negative value. No issues. There are no decimal points. So 9 minus 18 are integer values. So long integers. Long integers are optional in Python. Long integers are optional in Python. Suppose if we want to give an integer value like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, etc. It automatically takes the total value as integer. It automatically takes the total value as integer. So long integers are optional in Python. But in order to recognize long integers, we need to queue at the end with uppercase L or lower by using uppercase L or lowercase l. It may be either positive value or negative value, but at the end of value, it must be mentioned like capital L or in lowercase letter l. Okay, clear? But the disadvantage of this long integer is it does not run in Ideal or Anaconda or any Jupyter platforms also. That's why I'm saying that if you want to assign any long value to a variable, you can directly assign that long value to a variable. Okay. Suppose removing L here, the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you want to assign this value to A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Even though it's a long integer, you can allot that particular value to A. You can allot that particular value to variable A. There is no purpose of mentioning L, but just remember in data types of Python, there is a data type called long integer. Okay. Next, third one. Third one is floating point values, also called as floats. Floats means here we are having decimal point. Here we are having decimal point. See, after decimal point, the values, that means the right side of the decimal values are called as precision values. The right side of the dot are called as precision values. Suppose 81.72. This is decimal point, right? After that, these 72 are called as precision values. These 72 are called as precision values. So minus 90.18. This point, after point, the right side of the point 18. These are called as precision values. So in floating point values, definitely we need to have dot, decimal point. Next, complex numbers. How can we perform complex numbers? How can we perform complex numbers? See, complex numbers will be performed like similar to floating point only, but at the end of the floating point, we need to mention with uppercase or lowercase letter alphabet J. We need to mention uppercase or lowercase alphabet J. See here, 3.15 is a float value, but because at the end I have mentioned J, it is taken as complex number. It is taken as complex number. So minus 9.18 is a float value, but because I am mentioning J at the end, it becomes a complex value. It becomes a complex value. Okay. Now we shall check with a small example of the program. Now we shall check with a small example. See, up to here I am placing this as comment lines. Now we shall take A comma B comma C is equal to, we shall take D also, is equal to 9. Okay, 9 comma 18.36 comma 9 comma 18.36 comma 9.81 J. A comma B comma C comma D is equal to 9 comma 18.36. Okay, comma 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I am not mentioning L here. There is no purpose of mentioning L. Suppose C, look at here whether the ideal accepts me or not. So A is an integer value, B is a float value, C is complex value, complex number, and D is long integer. See, remember this particular value will not be considered by the interpreter. Definitely we are going to get an error for this. We shall check it out. See, print type of A. Print type of A. So for this the output will be int, int. Okay. Next print the type of B. B type in the sense float. Next print the type of C. Complex number. Print the type of D. So what's the value here we are going to get? Definitely an error. Definitely an error. Why? Because the Python interpreter or Anaconda or Jupyter does not accept this alphabet L. If you want to give the value like this, see, give the value like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Even this is also a long integer, right? Even that is also a long integer. But simply I am not mentioning any sort of L. I am not mentioning any sort of L. But the interpreter definitely treats it as an integer. So what the output which I have get, so this is an interpreter, right? So we shall compile like this. We shall compile like this. Why? Because again we may get the error by not getting the output. See, I am mentioning long integer value in place of E. So A is an integer, B is float value, D, C is complex number, D is also an integer, even it may be a long integer type. I did not mention any sort of VL, right? So it is also integer. For E, we'll be getting an error. We shall check it out. Go to file, save this particular file, go to
अरे ये
run.
डिक्लेयर
So declaring E, go to file, save the file, run module. See, here there is invalid syntax. Okay, you cannot see the screen. Are everyone able to see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
You can see the syntax error screen, right? So the system has given me invalid syntax. The system has given me invalid syntax. Okay, now I am going to yes. Okay, now I am taking the value of E. I am taking the value of E, and I am asking the interpreter to run the program like this. And I am asking the interpreter to run the program like this. Go to run module. So the output screen will be like this. So first one is integer, since I have given 9. Next one is float, since I have given 18.36. Next one is complex, since I have given 9.81. And the last one is integer. Even it may be of long size, the interpreter knows that it is an integer. Why? Because the interpreter does not accept the alphabet L when we are going to use type function. When we are going to use type function, the integer value may be of any long, but it considered as an integer only. We no need to give any sort of alphabet like L to understand for the interpreter. Okay. So hope today everyone has understood what is indentation in Python. Next, what is precedence table and how can we calculate the expressions, and what are different types of data types available in Python. In Python, there are only 3 data types. What are those 3 data types? In Python, there are only 3 data types. What are those 3 data types? First one is numbers. Second one is Boolean. and the third one is strings, numbers, booleans, and strings. In the next class, we shall discuss booleans and strings. Strings is a big concept. Strings is a big concept in Python. Nearly there are 25 to 30 predefined functions. In C language, there are only 5 functions like str, copy, str, len. There are similar functions, so there are only 5 string functions in C language. But in Python, there are nearly 25 to 30 predefined functions which we are going to use regularly in the further classes. Okay. And one more important thing which I want to share with all of you is, in the last class, I told